This is the latest offering from filmmaker Kelly Reichardt, whose work I'm semi-familiar with, because I've seen Night Moves, which I liked, but I think that might have been the only thing of hers I've ever seen. Certain Women, her last movie, has also been on my watch list for years now, but for some reason I don't seem to be able to get around to watching it. This one though, I don't know, it compelled me and I barely knew anything about it. Something about the poster and the title just spoke to me and I knew I had to watch this. Which is kind of funny because as soon as I pressed play I got a feeling of dread. Because something about that opening was just honestly so boring to me. I actually started feeling like skipping this and finding something else to watch. And for most of the movie, even when I started getting into it and liking it, that opening still lingered in my mind and I thought about how poorly executed it was. That it was just a terrible way to try to pull in the audience and try to grab their attention. Which makes it pretty funny to have to admit that I was completely wrong about it. I mean, I still didn't like it at the time of seeing it. It didn't compel me at all. But once the ending to the movie rolls around, you know exactly why that opening was there. And yeah, it serves a clear purpose and it makes the ending that much more impactful. Oh, and speaking of the opening, it has Alia Shawkat in it, who also gets top billing in this for some reason. And going into this, I thought she'd be starring in this, but turns out that's not the case at all. She's in the movie for about 2 minutes and is never seen again. And the real stars of the show are John Magaro and Orion Lee, who play two men in Oregon, I believe, during frontier days, so 1800s I guess, and these men strike up an unexpected friendship. And that friendship is basically at the heart of the movie, and we follow their journey as they try to figure out how to forge their own path in this new exciting world. But yeah, this is a slow burn for sure. In fact, it takes about an hour before they really get into the actual plot here, to the thing that's gonna drive the story forward, but after that it does pick up speed a little bit. And things do get a bit more exciting and funny too. Because what might have surprised me the most about this was how funny it actually was. It's all very understated, but almost every scene does have this comedic undertone to it. Sometimes it's a bit more overt, but at times it's more subtle, and I really appreciated that. And the two main characters did a fantastic job delivering that comedy as well. And overall, they are really what carries this movie along. And with lesser performances, this might have fallen flat on its face. But of course I also have to give credit to the writers and the filmmaker for putting it all together too. Oh, and one of the things that definitely stood out to me as a major positive was the production design. Because this movie looks exactly like I would have imagined it might have looked like in those days in that kind of environment. Movies usually make it look a little bit too clean and glamorous, a bit too polished. But this one feels authentic. It's muddy, it's dirty, the clothes are falling apart, and the houses are basically shacks. So a big shout out to whoever was in charge of the production design, because they nailed it. In fact, most people involved in this nailed it, and the end result was a surprisingly engaging and compelling movie. And I don't really have any genuine complaints, to be honest. This was just a really good movie. But as I said, it is very slow, and it's a pretty quiet movie too, with very little in the way of a score. And there's not a whole lot of dialogue packed into most scenes either, so that might put some people off. But to me at least, I think this one fully deserves a solid 8. Boop. Because I really enjoyed it and most definitely would recommend you check it out. So maybe go do that or don't. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic.